Great Content Purge. Where did the internet's history go? I still remember the panic in my chest when I realized it was gone. The blog I'd written for 7 years, hundreds of posts, thousands of comments, an entire chronicle of my life, vanished overnight. The hosting company had been acquired, servers migrated, and somehow in the shuffle no one thought to preserve what wasn't immediately profitable. No warning, no backup option offered, just gone. When I called customer service, the representative sounded genuinely sorry, but explained there was nothing they could do. That data simply doesn't exist anymore, she said. But how could something so real to me simply cease to exist? Chapter 1. Digital Amnesia. We were promised permanence. The internet never forgets, they told us. Your embarrassing photos, your regrettable tweets, your digital footprints, eternal and inescapable. Yet beneath this narrative of perpetual memory lies a darker truth. The internet is forgetting. It's forgetting constantly, deliberately, and at a scale that should terrify anyone who believes our digital present is being preserved for the future. The numbers are staggering. By some estimates, the average lifespan of a web page is just 100 days before it's altered or deleted. Of the links published in scholarly articles just 2 decades ago, nearly 80% now lead nowhere. The first million websites? Largely gone? Early social media platforms? Erased? Forums where communities once thrived? Deleted server by server, taking their conversations with them. This isn't mere digital dust settling. It's more akin to watching libraries burn while telling ourselves that books were never meant to last anyway. Chapter 2. The Invisible Hand of Erasure. When Yahoo announced the deletion of GeoCities in 2009, they erased approximately 38 million user-built websites in one corporate decision. These weren't just amateur pages of dancing hamster GIFs. They were the first digital homes many people ever created. Wedding announcements, memorial pages for lost loved ones, documentation of subcultures that existed nowhere else. The same story played out with MySpace's server migration error in 2019 that somehow deleted 12 years of music, over 50 million songs from 14 million artists, without backup or recourse. Or when Tumblr's adult content purge in 2018 led to the mass deletion of LGBTQ+ community archives and sex education resources. Or when Flickr began deleting photos exceeding their free account limits in 2019, threatening millions of embedded images across the web. Each time, the pattern is the same. A company makes a business decision, and pieces of our collective digital history simply vanish. No public consultation, often no warning. Just quarterly profit considerations, silently determining which parts of our shared past deserve to exist. Chapter 3. The Ghosts in the Machine. James couldn't find his daughter's voice anymore. After she died in 2015, her voicemails were his most precious possession. He'd saved them on SoundCloud because it felt safer than his phone. But when SoundCloud nearly went bankrupt and restructured in 2017, his account was among thousands deleted without notice. Her voice, the way she said, "Love you, Dad," at the end of every message, exists now only in his increasingly unreliable memory. Sarah built an exhaustive digital archive documenting human rights abuses in Syria from 2011 to 2017. Videos, testimonies, location data, evidence that might someday bring war criminals to justice. Then YouTube's algorithm flagged her channel for violent content. Despite appeals explaining the historical significance, everything was removed. Years of dangerous documentation work, gone in an algorithmic instant. Michael ran a forum for rare disease patients for 15 years. When the hosting company was acquired, they gave users 3 weeks to download their data before shutting down. Many users, elderly, disabled, or simply not online during that brief window, lost their entire support network and the accumulated knowledge that helped them manage their conditions. These aren't anomalies. They're the inevitable result of entrusting our collective memory to systems designed for profit, not preservation. Chapter 4. The Archivist's Desperate Race. In a nondescript building in San Francisco, the Internet Archive's servers hum day and night. Their Wayback Machine has preserved over 700 billion web pages since 1996, but they're saving less than 1% of what's published online, a digital drop in an ever-expanding ocean. Jason Scott of Archive Team speaks with barely contained fury when discussing digital erasure. "We're living through the digital dark ages," he told me, "watching the greatest assemblage of human knowledge and expression ever created being deleted because someone decided the server costs weren't worth it." His volunteer army races against time, scraping and saving websites scheduled for deletion. Sometimes they succeed, often they fail. Rogue archivists risk legal action to preserve what corporations discard. Museum curators quietly download endangered digital artifacts before they disappear. Librarians develop emergency protocols for mass archiving when a platform announces shutdown. They're the unsung heroes fighting against a tide of deletion that most of us don't even notice. But they're losing. Chapter 5. The Selective Memory of Power. Not everything disappears equally. Corporate marketing materials survive while community forums vanish. Government pronouncements endure while citizen journalism evaporates. The pattern reveals an uncomfortable truth. What survives isn't what's most valuable to humanity, but what's most valuable to those with power. In 2021, Microsoft shut down its entire ebook store. Every book purchased by customers simply stopped working. The official explanation was streamlining business focus, but the result was the same as a bookstore owner coming to your home and taking back every book you'd bought. Except these digital books couldn't be hidden under beds or buried in gardens. They simply ceased to function. YouTube regularly purges low-performing educational videos while preserving viral content that drives engagement. Twitter archives presidential communications, but allows millions of historically significant conversations to disappear. Facebook preserves lucrative user data while letting community pages documenting local history vanish without trace. The result is a curated, corporate-friendly version of digital history, one where marketing campaigns outlive social movements, where celebrity gossip survives while grassroots organizing disappears, where the powerful decide which parts of our collective past deserve remembrance. Chapter 6. Digital Mortality. We've built a civilization on digital sand, watching incredulously as the tide washes away our footprints. The web wasn't designed for permanence. It was built for information exchange, for immediacy. The architecture of the internet itself reinforces its impermanence. Links break, domains expire, formats become obsolete. But there's something deeper in our acceptance of digital deletion. Perhaps it's that we still don't fully believe digital things are real. We treat digital possessions, photos, messages, communities, creations, as somehow less substantial than their physical counterparts. We accept their disappearance with resignation rather than outrage. Yet for the first generation growing up entirely digital, these losses are profoundly real. Their childhood photos exist primarily in cloud accounts. Their formative conversations happened in apps. Their creative expressions were born digital. When these things disappear, there's often no analog backup, No shoebox of memories in the attic. What does it mean to be the first civilization that could lose decades of its history, not to disaster or war, but to indifference, to upgrade cycles, to quarterly profit margins? The Great Content Purge continues silently around us, every day, rarely making headlines. Links die, servers shut down, formats become unreadable, and with each deletion, we lose another thread in the tapestry of who we were and how we lived. I often wonder about that blog I lost. 7 years of thoughts and connections erased in an instant. I wonder what other losses we're sustaining without even realizing it. What future historians will wish we had saved. What pieces of ourselves we're letting slip away, pixel by pixel, into a digital oblivion of our own making. The internet remembers what power wants remembered. It forgets the rest. And in that selective memory, we're creating a history that may bear little resemblance to the messy, beautiful, contradictory ways we actually lived. The question isn't whether the internet will remember us. It's whether it will remember what was true.
Subscribe to Noctivox, hit the bell, and join us every Saturday to uncover the hidden